How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, would put up a strong green day inside of the market. We saw a lot of momentum in buying coming into the tech sector, so I want to make sure you guys are prepared for tomorrow. And we also do have some key CPI data that's going to be coming out, so you got to be prepared. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to take a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $28.83, being up 5.10%. On the low, it tested $27.59, and then on the high, testing $28.94. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 21.496 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 36.132 million shares. So even though we did have below average volume on the day, we saw a lot of strength in tech, and that's part of the reasons why we see Lucid had a strong finish. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is at 38.15. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 50-day, the 100-day, the 21-day EMA, and we are still below the 200-day. But as you can see, we are gaining some momentum here. So we ended up seeing a high of the day at $28.94. And like I've been saying in my previous videos, we know $29 is an area of resistance for Lucid. So going into tomorrow, if it can get above this 200-day at $29.22 and then make that move to 30, things can get very interesting. We know that 30 is going to be a psychological level, and if we're able to actually get past 30, this is where you're going to want to see it get to the 21-day EMA around $32.30, and that's where we can say, you know what, we have a strong reversal here. But for the most part, the key area you want to be paying attention to is to see if this stock can get above $32.50, but it has to get past that psychological area right at $30. If it decides to pull back, since we do have some key data that's going to be coming out tomorrow, then I'm going to want to see if support could actually hold up right here around this $27.65 level. It will be interesting, but it's just something that you're going to want to keep an eye on. So overall, in general, it is looking fairly bullish. Let's see if this momentum can continue. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the filings for February the 9th, wow, you can see we have a good amount. So let's get through it. So we have Lucid Asset Management LLC that purchased 1,891 shares. We have Adams Wealth Management that closed their put position. We have Allegheny Financial Group Limited that purchased 75 shares. We have Wolverine Asset Management LLC that had a put with a value of shares of 414,500. We also have Sidler and Nelson LLC that had 475 shares. We have Haran Securities Inc. with 0. We also have Campan Lombard Audier SCMA that purchased 8,200 shares. We also have Asset Management One Company Limited that purchased 168,710 shares. We also have Ritter Daniher Financial Advisor LLC that purchased 75 shares. We have Korea Investment Corp that purchased 102,700 shares. We have UMB Bank that purchased 1,953 shares. We have Principal Financial Group Inc. that purchased 9,813 shares. We have Washington Washington Trust Company that purchased 96, and then we have ELO Mutual Pension Insurance Company that purchased 30,528 shares, and then we have Mitsubishi UFJ Trust and Banking Corp that purchased 202,706 shares. So again, institutions loading up on Lucid. And now when we take a look at the short interest, the dark pool short volume ratio is at 53.72%, and then for the dark pool short volume, it is just over 4.6 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 45,000, updated 18 minutes ago, and then for the short ball fee rate, it is at 22.54. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 7th, it's at 60.11, and then for the close of the 8th being at 53.72. So one thing that remains the same, Lucid does have short squeeze potential, and if we continue to see buying pressure coming into the stock, this is where we can see those moves to the upside. So now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see here on the inflow, it's at 128, and then on the outflow, it's at 109. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 2.85. On the medium, it was 56.26. And then on the small, it was 69.15. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 44.64. And then on the small, it was 64.24. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for the close of February the 9th, which is today, it's at 2.85 million, it being that inflow. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, our funds, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.32%. So again, a very consistent range for Lucid. And what this tells us, there are many who are still holding on to their positions. We do have traders that are going in and out of this play, but since we saw a lot of strength in tech, I'm not surprised that we were able to do very well. So now let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when we take a look at the price action, what you want to pay attention to, is it going to be able to surpass that $29 area going into tomorrow? I feel like if we have a lot of strength going into tech, we should be able to do this and start testing that psychological area right at 30 bucks. Keep in mind, it is still trading under the 200-day moving average, so it is in a bearish territory. But at the moment, for the past 2 trading days, things are looking good, and this is why I'm saying you could look forward to seeing that bounce if we see strength continuing inside of tech. We do have some key CPI data that's going to be coming out tomorrow, and I would keep a very close eye on that because this will impact the sector as a whole, and if we end up having a pullback, Lucid will be visiting back to that $25 area. But do know, if we do get that bullish move, we want to see that move going past 30 and as well as 32.50. The moment it gets above 32.50, I feel like there'll be more buyers wanting to get into the play and so forth and push this price up as it gets closer to earnings. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, institutions are continuing to load up on shares. Plus, on top of that, for the short interest, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. So this is why I'm saying, if you have that volume, you have that buying pressure, and you have momentum coming into the sector, it could be a game changer for this stock, and you want to make sure you're keeping it on close watch. But if you're looking to play the downside, whether you want to go in with puts or you want to short the stock, I would highly suggest you pay attention what's going on in the overall sector. We know Biden just spoke not too long ago in regards to his ambitions in the EV space, and we do see that we're having quite a turnaround when it comes to tech stocks. So you want to be cognizant of that. Do not be naive and just follow the trend. There's no reason to go against a trend and lose your hard-earned money. I know many people send me message, yo, Dre, I've been holding my put still. Why is it moving up? Again, you have to make sure you're going in with your entries correctly. You have to have a game plan. You have to know your entry. You have to know your exit. And considering how choppy the markets have been, there's no room for you to be greedy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how this stock performs going into tomorrow.